AstroEnergy Astrology Show on Blog Talk Radio with me, Astrologer Shelley Overton. Each week we go over the planetary positions, discuss astrology, and take callers' questions. If you would like to call in and get a reading, you can call 347-994-3365. Call in early as the lines fill up. Hello and welcome to the February 26, 2019 edition of the AstroEnergy Astrology Show. My name is Shelley Overton and I'm an astrologer in Orlando, Florida. I am here with you today to walk you through some astrology. How are you doing? What a week it's been. It's been another interesting week. We've got a little bit of overcast sky here in Orlando, and I haven't even looked to see what the temperature is, but I know it was pretty chilly this morning. Don't know if it's very cool where you're at, but let's see, 69 degrees on its way up to 76. That's pretty chilly for Orlando, but it's actually like spring around here, and I'm feeling really springy. It's awesome. So I'll just give you a little update on what I've been doing. I was out at the Spirit Fest this past weekend in Orlando, and it's a wonderful little metaphysical, spiritual, holistic health fair, and I actually spoke out there. I was teaching some astrology. I gave an introduction to astrology lecture, and it was honestly my first one in front of a group. I've talked about it on air, but I haven't really done it in front of live people. Not that I haven't done that in the past. I have some experience talking in front of live people. And I take it back. I think I had a class here locally, but there weren't very many at that one. It was a small private one. But this was wonderful. I enjoyed it. I got to meet so many people at the Spirit Fest. It was in Celebration, Florida, which is originally it was planned as a Disney community, but I think it was purchased by the group of people, homeowners in Celebration. And so it's not Disney anymore, but a lot of people still go there when they're visiting Disney World and the resorts. So it's got kind of a nice vibe about it. It was a wonderful little boutique hotel that I guess is Spanish in origin. And so it was quite beautiful. I posted pictures to my Instagram if you would like to see. I had it on the story. I have to look and see if I actually have it in the scrolling pictures. But it was really beautiful. It had a ceiling in the center of the stairwell that was in an oval, and it was just like stained glass and multicolors. The bathrooms were small, iridescent brown tiles that faded up to white at the top. It was just incredible. But met a lot of you and got to do a lot of astrology, and I was very happy and excited about that. And I got to be out in front of people explaining astrology, which is kind of my forte. So if you haven't listened before, I basically talk astrology for probably the first half hour. Then I take readings. If you're interested in getting a reading, you can call 347-994-3365. And I haven't even had a chance here to open the chat room, which is my bad. But I'm doing it now. So if you're interested in going over to the chat room, it should be open here in a second. Oh, let's see. The flash player is kind of thinking here. Anyway, yeah, I was just looking online at The Guardian. I check in with The Guardian, but I have to tell you, it's a British online paper, traditionally British, but they do have a U.S. version, but it's still written, I think, by a lot of British people. And I'm checking in on what's going on. And, of course, last Saturday they sent up SpaceX, which is very cool. I actually posted pictures of SpaceX on my Facebook page. And I take it back. I was going to. That's what the idea was. I looked at my video, and it wouldn't show it because it was 30 miles away, and it lit up the sky, but my phone, I could not get it to show it. So I take it back. I actually did post some information about it through NASA, but I didn't post my own pictures, which kind of sucks, but what are you going to do? Anyway, I was just looking through here, and something caught my eye today, and that is another article, and it looks like they've had them from 2013, 2018, and now 2019 about payday loans. And the reason I bring that up is because Uranus is about to go into Taurus. I have been feeling a lot of Aquarian, Uranian energy this weekend. Have you been feeling this? It's electrical, but it's also grounding. It may have expressed in migraines, in aches and pains. You bring energy into your body. Taurus rules the body on one level. It rules the physicality of it, where I think sometimes Capricorn is associated with the body, but it's really more the skeleton, where I personally associate the actual whole body as Taurus. And so you may be picking up a lot of excess electrical energy in your body. It's going to affect the weather. I was noticing this weekend it was really windy around the hotel. I want to bring in the idea to you of keeping track of your thoughts and your emotions at this time, because they're going to potentially start manifesting more in the physical world, because that's what Aquarius energy, Uranian, for those of you who don't know, Uranus rules Aquarius, and the attributes of both are pretty much synonymous. They're the same. So you can refer to Aquarius and the attributes will be Uranian. So whenever I talk about one or the other, they have the same attributes. So, and it's the same with the planets and the signs they rule. So having this energy of electricity that Uranus really brings in is going to be affecting us in our bodies now and in the material world. So it means that monetary systems are going to start getting a little more erratic. And because Uranus is a planet of clarity and understanding, I do anticipate some type of market altering, realignment to more reality of what true value is. And that's because Taurus rules value and Uranus rules clarity. So it's clarity around values. And it will also bring out more of our understanding of our own personal value within situations, within earning money, within trying to grow something, connecting to a loved one, maybe specifically a romantic partner. And so we're starting to see those things popping out. And I was kind of paying attention a little bit more to the news to say, hey, where is this coming from? One other thing that I noticed, and I've been drinking coffee, but it's been disagreeing with me more. And I find that really interesting because our bodies are going to be processing chemicals more differently. And I think that we're all going to recognize when there's something that doesn't agree with us in the food, it will be coming out in our bodies. So there's a lot of different subtle, tangential or ancillary themes, so to speak, with this energy. And probably the more and more we go on, and especially when it retrogrades over the summer, we'll see more of a restrictive energy, because of course Uranus retrograde acts let me explain, when it goes direct, it's much more clear and power minded and freedom minded. It wants no restrictions to it. When it goes retrograde, it gets more restrictive. It clamps down a little bit more on ideas, and the power struggle is a little more real. So we'll see really where those areas are when Uranus retrogrades in Taurus. We'll kind of get our first taste of what that energy entails and how we can go back over what we've learned from the time it goes forward into Taurus. So we already had a little taste last year. It made its first foray into Taurus last year in May, and it retrograded back into Aries, but there will be no more retrogrades back into Aries for another 75 years, or whenever it goes in, roughly 72 years from now, again to Aries. So after that point, then, society and the world will feel it again. But currently, once it goes into Taurus in March, which is March 6th, it won't be going back into Aries for decades. So it will be the retrograde motion in Taurus. That being said, the title of the show is about Venus, and Venus rules love and rules Taurus. It also rules Libra. And I find it interesting that the rulership of Libra is in conjunct or 150 degrees away from Taurus. So Venus rules two signs that are in negative aspect to each other. So it means Librans are going to be feeling Venusian energy not expressed through air, but expressed in earth. And then Uranus, which of course goes into Taurus, answers to Venus, but Uranus is an air sign, air planet, I should say, ruling an air sign of Aquarius in Taurus, which is Earth. So there's a really strong air-Earth combination, which means air is thought, thinking, and ideas, and it can be inventiveness or expression of understanding and getting lots of ideas or bringing in information from other sources and bringing it down to the material world. So we're going to be having this strong connection between ideas and manifestation. So that means new inventions. It means clarity around what is in the material world. And because Taurus rules plants and earth and greenery and things of a tactile nature, things of beauty, all of that kind of energy and growth and greenery is going to be really coming to fruition and being more seen in our day-to-day lives. Okay, so the topic, though, is Venus, and actually I'm going to have to look at Blog Talk in a different area to see exactly what I titled it, because I honestly cannot tell you right now. So let's see what it says. Venus and Aquarius. Okay, good. Thank you. So Venus and Aquarius. Well, that's an interesting thing because Venus is only 4 degrees away from going into Aquarius. And of course, she's going to be going in this week. And right after next week, Uranus goes into her sign. So we're basically going into a time of mutual receptivity. That is a $30 word for each planet is in the other planet's sign. Quick, succinct way to express it. I actually was talking about that to someone this weekend, and I was like doing a lengthy explanation of it, but it wasn't coming out the way I wanted. But basically, each sign is in the other ruling sign. So Venus will be in Uranus's sign, and Uranus will be in Venus's sign. So that happens, well, March 1st at 11:45 a.m. Eastern, Venus goes into Aquarius. And like I said, March 6th is the day that Uranus goes into Taurus at 3:26 a.m., 12:26 a.m. Pacific. So after the 6th, we'll have these two planets very much talking to each other. And so what does that mean? Well, that means that money, love, beauty, electricity, power grids, stock market, let's see, agriculture, chemicals, chemistry, science, anything along those lines are going to be triggered. And so we're going to see unusual things happen. And also I want to tell you, cognizance of situations can alter. And what I mean by that is you'll swear you saw something a certain way, and when you go back over it, it won't be the same way. Or you'll think something was a way it isn't. Like I just as a very small example, I put $1 in this bucket by the TV set that I had from the weekend, and I looked in it, and guess what I found? I found, I believe it's a Sacagawea dollar. It may not even be that. I'm looking here. It doesn't. The face doesn't look like Sacagawea, but it's like one of those little small gold dollars. Let me see if I can figure it out real quick. Drew Jacobson? I don't know. Maybe it's a foreign currency even. Oh, no, there's the Statue of Liberty. Honestly, it is worth $1, but what is the face on the front? It does not even look like what I thought it would. So And Andrew Jackson. Andrew Jackson. When did they make $1 with Andrew Jackson? I thought it was Sacagawea. Okay, well, there you go. So, in an alternate reality around money, that's what I'm talking about. So, just the fact that it was there and I never remembered getting an actual coin dollar, and then I'm looking in this bucket. It's a brand new bucket, and there's this coin dollar. Not only is it an unusual coin to be there, but it's also not the face or image of someone that I thought was on there. So that's kind of what I'm talking about. So we'll see more of that as time goes on. And so if you are in fact feeling like things are not lining up and not the way you thought they were, that may be part of the reason. Uranus is about curiosity and understanding at a higher level. And so we're going to be seeing more of a push towards learning. So it's not particularly an educational planet or aspect, but it is one of curiosity. And so it's more of alternative thinking and looking for things and solutions that are different than the norm. So even though we have this unusual quality coming into the sign, Taurus is not a sign that rapidly likes to change its mind or even move forward. It is a very stubborn, plodding sign. It is an earth sign, so it digs its heels in. And so now for you Taurians out there, or Taurus rising, or Venus in Taurus, and I have Jupiter late degrees of Taurus, it is about changing it up, okay? So wherever you have that energy in your chart is going to be a change up. And so even though I'm talking about Venus and Aquarius, I can pretty much tell you that the combination of Venus and Aquarius and Uranus and Taurus are going to be very closely linked to the month of March, because for that month, Venus is in that sign. And so there will be this mutual receptivity for the whole first month that Uranus is in Taurus. And so it is going to really set the tone. If you think again about how the chart or a moment in time becomes a birth chart, which is the idea of horary, Horary, or as some people pronounce it, horary, but I don't like horary. I've got a French upbringing, or not French upbringing, a French background in education, and so I would just prefer horary. So horary charts are the moment in time. You create a chart for the moment in time. So under that idea, having this moment of an ingress of a planet into another sign creates a sort of a birth chart for the time in that sign. And so at that moment, Venus will already be in the sign that Uranus is ruled by. So they are very closely linked, and it will be like a birth chart for that ingress for the whole time it's there. Of course, Venus won't be in Taurus the whole time, but when planets hit that degree of 0 Aquarius, you're going to feel it. And so I know one person in particular who is going to feel this very strongly, and that is, of course, my son with all his Aquarius rising and Moon, Neptune, Uranus there. So if you're like that, and I know we have a couple callers who have Aquarius risings, it's going to be a very strong snap to attention. Aquarius also squares Taurus, so they're going to be kind of in a power struggle on some level. And again, it's about money and ideas. And so there's this wanting not to change, but pretty much being forced to, but not being very comfortable about it. And I guess I can tell you also that I have that kind of energy in my chart because Uranus rules the cusp of my home and family. And this week I have another family that's been looking at this house that I live in and rent to possibly buy the property. And of course, so that means there may be a possibility that I'm going to be moving. With what I've just said, of course, that's likely, but it's not my preference. So there's going to be this friction of not wanting to make the change, but ultimately the change is going to happen, and I know that, but you have to get okay with it, all right? It's not necessarily going to be a bad change. It's just going to be a change, and it's a dynamic of the physical world. we are changing the physical world. And with all the planets in Capricorn, we've got Saturn at 17, Pluto at 22, so they are in conjunction range now. They're only 5 degrees apart, so they are pretty close. Of course, Saturn retrogrades over the summer, as does Pluto. So they will kind of, right now Saturn's chasing Pluto, but Pluto will be chasing Saturn. And then, of course, they'll both go direct, and January of next year they'll join up with each other and talk about things. So with that energy, Capricorn is in trine to right now Mars. Of course, Mars is going a couple degrees a day. Let me just look and see how long he'll take to get out of that sign. I think it's like the first week or maybe April 1st. Yeah, April 1st he'll be out of Taurus. And so through the time he's in that sign, he will be touching a trine to Saturn, to Pluto, and he won't be doing Venus because she already had a trine with him, and now she's moving on to Aquarius to square Mars. So Venus and Mars are going to be having at it, so to speak. And, you know, again, in the public eye, that will probably be politics between women and men. It can be any issues around probably science even. I want to say science and cooperation among united groups, which Aquarius/Uranus rule. So it's unified groups and unions, groups of people under a certain umbrella, and definitely the LGBT community is going to be covering that because Aquarius is the ruling sign and Uranus is the ruling planet of LGBT. So you'll feel that coming in. Venus in Aquarius, she is unusual. She looks for multiple relationships. She is very bright. You can't put anything over on her, so those qualities will be coming out. You will see people coming in for a possible relationship and going away just as quickly because there's this energy almost of, wow, this is a fated connection, and there's some strong draw to this person, and then boom, they're gone. And you're like, what happened to them? It was so good. Well, it's Aquarius. Aquarius hits and runs. It's very much now and gone. So just know, specifically for romance and love, it's an intellectual connectedness through friendship or networking. There may be some commonalities, but they aren't likely to stick around. With that being said, Venus still has a few days in Capricorn. So if you've met someone recently, there could be a potential for sticking around because she has not gone into Aquarius yet. But I can tell you, by the next few years, if that is a relationship you get into, it probably will go to the great beyond around 3 or 4 years from now, because that's how many degrees it takes before she gets into Aquarius. And when she gets into Aquarius, in current sky, it's going to kind of shift the energy and freedom will ensue, and those people will feel like, oh, that was nice, but I'm interested in something else, and now it's not really a thing. And then having the progression, which means 1 day equals 1 year, 4 days from now, when Venus goes into Aquarius, equals 4 years from now. That's how I came to that conclusion. So, wow, this is going to be a podcast you'll have to listen to again to get all the information. It's kind of a lot today. But anyway, let's see. Oh, I've got someone in the chat room. Aquarius at 2 degrees Sun in the 8th house. So shifting it up around commitment. Again, that's also Aquarius. Anyone with Aquarius ruling or in a house of commitment will feel that shift. You're going to feel, I want more freedom. I don't necessarily feel as committed to that relationship. And just as an example, my daughter has Aquarius in that house. Well, Aries and Taurus. So, of course, that's where Uranus has been transiting. And she's been struggling to even care about the relationship she's in, which is, only a year old and a high school kind of thing. So it's expected to run its course, as teenage romances can do, unfortunately. But we'll see. I'm interested to see how Uranus affects her because it falls in our house of commitment, and that's the 8th house. So it could mean that it shifts from I want to take action away from that situation to no, I really don't want to be there anymore. Or it could just mean that there is a new level of relationship where you're wanting more freedom within the relationship, which is also Taurus energy in the house of commitment. It's about value. And so Venus, the energy of love and money, joint finances in that house is going to be something that will come out through money or love or the lack of funds. It could be anything. It'll probably be both money coming in and money going out. So people with Taurus in the house of commitment, the 8th house, which is normally joint finances, are probably going to have some issues around money or look at the money situation in the relationship as something that is very serious to them, and that can make or break a relationship as well. So let's see what else we have here. We have Sun at 7 degrees Pisces today, Neptune at 15, and Mercury at 25. Looking for fun, beautiful, unique gift ideas for your family and friends? Here's the perfect place for you. ShelleyOverton.com is the answer. With bright, whimsical, as well as realistic art options, you are bound to find art for everyone's taste. But there isn't just art. ShelleyOverton.com has photography designs too. If you like Disney, you will find items with Cinderella's castle on them. If you are buying for a Harry Potter fan, check out photos of the Hogwarts Express or Diagon Alley. And ShelleyOverton.com has mugs, t-shirts, shower curtains, phone cases and chargers, tote bags, as well as art prints of all sorts and in support of the arts. So stop by ShelleyOverton.com. That is ShellEY Overton.com. You'll be glad you did. And see, that wasn't too painful. Welcome back. My name is Shelley Overton, and you are listening to the AstroEnergy Astrology Show on Blog Talk Radio. And I want to thank you for being here. Also, I wanted to let you know my Learn Astrology book, an illustrated guide for novices, is on sale still, 20% off. You can get it. It's an ebook, and you can, I believe I posted singles pages, so if you don't have like Nook or Kindle or whatever as your reader, you can still download it, if I'm not mistaken. If you can't and want to get just single pages and read it on your computer, let me know and I will send that to you also. Just pay for it and give me an email and I'll send you the singles version of that. But it's on angeliczodiac.com, and I will tell you, I was teaching people this weekend and I was asking because nobody said anything. I was trying to be more interactive with the audience and no one was really giving me a lot of feedback, but a couple people after the class or the session did tell me that I made it easier for them to understand. And then one lady said she had a book on astrology that she got as a gift over Christmas and it was very difficult for her to process. And I'm an artist, so I am a visual learner. And so I really wanted to make a visual means for people to understand and kind of relate the images to what I was teaching. And that, I think, can help you learn and understand astrology. So that's really specifically why I wrote the book and made the book the way it was. It's how it developed. So if you are interested in that, it, again, is angeliczodiac.com. And that's all. Okay, let's see what we have on the line for a reading today. 651. Hi, 651. Who is this?
Hi, Shelley. This is Linda up here in Minnesota.
Hi, Linda in Minnesota. Are you freezing? Are you frozen?
Yeah, I think I heard it's 1 below right now.
Oh my gosh, 1 below. Single digits. Minus single digits.
They're saying it's like the second snowiest month in history, I think.
Uh-huh. Well, so, yeah, it's going to happen, unfortunately.
Winter.
And yeah, Uranus and Taurus is about the physical world, so it's probably going to be more earth energy with the weather. because Uranus rules meteorology and weather and storms and stuff. And for 8 years in that sign, it's going to bring more kind of that unexpected, unpredictable spring type weather. So probably be more spring snowstorm kind of energy coming in. I'm sorry to say, I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but that's kind of the energy coming in, is that the weather tends to be more earthbound, and so it's going to be like wind blowing across the surface of the earth and kicking things up around there, tornadoes. And okay, I'll shut up now. Anyway, what can I do for you today?
Well, originally, when I called in this morning, I was interested in what's happening with where Chiron is in my chart, but now you tweaked all my curiosity about Venus in Aquarius, my rising sign, and this relationship with Uranus going into Taurus too. So that's
I'll give you all of that. How about that? I'll touch on that whole part. And I want to tell everybody, and you too, that right now I just posted a picture on Instagram before the show to promote the show, and I usually post the chart for the day, and all the planets are on one half of the sky right now. It's crazy, with the exception of the node of Fate, which isn't really a planet or even an asteroid. It's just a point in the sky. But everything is in half the sky. So I find that really interesting. But for you, the Capricorn energy falls on your Chiron. I mean, you are lucky because Saturn just got past your Chiron, but I think it may transit back over that in the course of the summer. So your Chiron's at 15 degrees Capricorn. So let me see if I can find out real quick for you. If it's probably going to go back over it this summer. So hang on while I do the physical world looking. Oh, no. You know what? No, it will. I'm sorry. I was looking at Chiron. 17, 19. I'm sorry for those listening. Listening to me flip pages is probably not terribly fun. Yeah, it's going to get all the way back to 13 in September. So July is going to be Saturn on your Chiron, which is asking you to really look at where that wounding was. And again, for you, it's in the 12th house. So it's around authority figures, father figures, and structures of some sort, systems and organizations. So, yeah, that's where, and it's in the 12th house for you, for those who are listening. And for you, it's subconscious and things that are unseen, the hidden. So it's going to be something going on that maybe you just felt or you just went through, and now you have to revisit over the course of the summer. And it will be the last time for like 28 years that Saturn will affect that part of your chart. So it really is trying to understand and maybe own your part of the wounding, which is what Saturn wants us to do, is really own our stuff and stop expressing it and projecting it out to others. So if you can get to the heart of it, that's really what it's going to be for the summer for you.
Okay.
And then as far as your Aquarius rising, yes, Venus will be triggering that, and then she will. I don't think Venus goes retrograde today. I mean, not today, this year. But let me real quick look that up for you all as well. I've got a wonderful little book. I think I've told you about it, the Daily Planetary Guide. And it has all these wonderful little charts and things. And I don't know if I can even find it. You know, I'm sorry for those of you who are annoyed with me for looking this stuff up. But, yeah, Venus doesn't go retrograde. Only Mercury, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto go retrograde this year. So Mars and Venus do not. And that's actually a little bit of wonderful. So we don't have to deal with Venus getting all difficult on us. So she's only going to spend 30 days in Aquarius. But during that time, I can tell you Aquarius makes us very attractive to everyone. Aquarius rules networking and, friends and soul group. So it's the people associated with your life purpose. And in the first house, that means that you are going to be attracting a lot of people to you. And it makes you really charismatic and kind of electric. You go out and people notice you during that time. So, yeah, it'll be a month of, great awareness. And let's see. So then the last part that we were talking about is Uranus into Taurus, which falls in your house of communications and thought. So you've already had Uranus in your house of communications for a while. Let's see. probably 2.5 years. It's been
Oh.
there around 19 degrees. Yeah. Have you felt that? Like there was a shift a few years ago?
Hmm.
It went from money to thought processes. So much more tangible and feeling, maybe you were feeling like you wanted to do something in the physical material world or with money, and then it shifted on you, and then it was like, whoa, wait a minute, now I've got all these great ideas, and it wasn't as much about getting someone else associated with what you were wanting to do as much as, the ideas and expressing it. So it went from like more of a desire, and you're probably also more on edge when Uranus was in Aries. I mean, Uranus still is in Aries, and it can make us all very agitated. And I noticed that my temper is a little bit heightened this week as it's about to go into a new sign. And so having Uranus at the end degrees of your second house, there is a connection here because the natural ruler of the second house is Taurus. So for 19 degrees of Uranus in Aries, it was actually in the Taurus house. Then it went into third house and started answering to the Gemini energy and also Mars, which, of course, the last, 8 weeks, it was close to Mars was close to Uranus. So there was a lot more agitation this year. And then now going into Taurus, it's going to calm it down a little bit. You're going to have that electrical energy infusing into Venus, and so it's going to be more about desires. I think it's going to increase your awareness of music and beauty and art and aesthetics and desire. So, yeah, that's how it's going to affect you. And then you'll probably want to look more into doing things with investing or growing things. I think definitely for you, I'm just feeling like growing something or surrounding yourself with more plants, which can really help the ionization of the air and help you feel better in general, can really help you because you have a 27 Taurus ruling your house, a home, and family too. So if you bring some of that growth and plant energy into your environment, it can really help you think clearer and ground you at the same time.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. I hope that helps you. It's good talking to you.
It does help me.
Okay, great. Well, you have a lovely week, and take it easy. Try not to stress out too much as we get closer and closer to March 6th. So just ground. That's what it is. Electrical energy needs to be grounded, and that's exactly what it's going to be doing. It's been in fire, which if you think of electrical energy in a fire sign, it's kind of like I see the opening to Mission Impossible with the cord on fire going across the screen. It's like, that's kind of what I see, like wires on fire. But going into Taurus is much more like a greenhouse with the light on, and it's all very bright, and everything's thriving with that brightness. It's air and it's lightness, and it's very springy energy actually, and I'm really honestly looking forward to it because I just think it's going to be much more a sense of calm and peace coming out of this energy. There will be its own issues, but I think it's going to be much more at peace than it was in Aries. So yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, I had a lot of agitation the last couple weeks.
Yeah, I think it's coming out of us all. I know, I've felt it. I've seen it in others, and it's kind of like, oh man, it's just really like, again, the end degrees of any sign is going to concentrate what the theme is of that sign. So you're seeing more of that energy popping out in society and in people. So it's going to really shift in a week and a half, okay? So, or let me see, week 6, we're 2 days away from the end, so about 8 days, okay?
Great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Good talking to you. Take care. Bye.
Take care.
Thanks. Okay, let's take 318. Hi, 318. How are you?
Hi, is that me, Shelley?
It is you. Who am I talking to?
This is Eva.
Eva, I got you right here. Hi. What's up?
Well, I was just cooking and listening to you, and wow, I'm surprised. So I just love your show. I love you, and I've been wanting to try to get with you and get a real reading from you.
Wonderful.
I called in one day, I don't know, a few weeks ago, and it was just so dead on about where I was at. But I was wondering, since you were talking about Uranus moving into Taurus, and I have a Taurus ascendant.
You do.
And I was wondering, and then it's going to like square my Venus and my Sun. So I was kind of in the fourth house. I have those planets. So I was just kind of wondering how I should work with that energy.
Yeah. Okay. So your Venus and your Sun in Leo are all about connectedness. Okay. And so your natural inclination, like your love language, is about nurturing others and the connection you have, because that's what Leo really wants to do. It wants to relate to others. And Taurus, it relates, but it relates in love, which is probably the one commonality. See, squares do have commonalities between signs, where like inconjuncts aren't really, there's nothing in common. Squares do have stuff in common. And so the common energy of Venus in Taurus and Venus in Leo is that they both connect to others. Okay, so Taurus connects in a romantic sense, in desires, and Leo connects through understanding where you're coming from. And I'm coming from there too. Look at you. I've got this and you got that. And I have this desire and you have that desire. I live in this country and you live in the country. So they're relating, and Taurus wants to connect to other people and nurture through food, or nurture in ways that are like tactile or beautiful or aesthetic and pleasing. It likes, and the other commonality I just realized too is they both like status and luxury. Okay, they're both into the finer things in life. Okay, so if you're looking to integrate the energies, the common areas are where you can integrate is be more pleasurable to yourself, do things that are beautiful or playful and enjoyable in that sense, spend time with other people, because that will please both signs, and as for money, very generously, and Taurus wants to hold on to it. Okay. And Leo has a very bubbly, fiery energy of optimism, and Taurus can be really serious and kind of a wet blanket at times, because they're just like very practical about money and material things, whereas Leo is more playful with money, and so it doesn't really care as much about where it's coming from. It just knows that when Leo has money, it spends money. Okay, when Taurus has money, it saves, and it gets a nice pool of savings, and then it buys very nice goods. Okay, Leo will buy on credit and just trust that it'll be there, because usually it is, because it's very optimistic and it's a risk taker. So that's the conflict, probably in a nutshell, for you between your rising sign and your home and family. So personally, right now with Mars in your first house, you may be feeling like, I really need to save. It seems like the money's been going out the last few weeks, and now I really need to start being aware of saving. And then it's also in your first house of identity. So it is about value, how you value yourself. Okay, so it's the first house of self, and it is about value. So it's about taking better care of yourself and looking to beautiful things that you don't have to spend money on necessarily, but you can grow. If you're interested in doing something that might be more healthful, I mean, I'm just giving you an example from my own life. I grow rosemary. You could make candles that will burn and, like get the oil and put some rosemary in it, and then gives you a sense of calm and well-being. So it touches on your need for growth and greenery and plant life, and at the same time it nurtures you. So those kind of things, something aesthetic, painting a room a nice color, or even just sketching or drawing or doing whatever type of creative endeavor you like to do. I think you have some talent artistically looking at your chart. Do you feel like that?
Well, not really. I love astrology. I did do some painting of furniture, but I've never been a great artist, that kind that could just draw or paint anything. But I did get into painting and redoing furniture. I really enjoyed that. That was more like a hobby.
Yeah, I was going to say crafts. If you don't do art, crafts could be really good for you, because Cancer and Leo, you have Cancer in the house of communication, and home and family is ruled by Cancer for you, and then you have Venus and Sun and Leo in Cancer house. that can be really crafty. It can be about sewing or decorating or decorative arts like painting furniture with stencils. It doesn't have to be, pure artistic and fine art. It can be a means of creativity that speaks to your talents. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess I have done that through the years. Come to think of it, I would make wreaths and I would do, so I have done some of that. Yeah, definitely.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Saturn joined Moon in Aquarius for you in the house of career. If you like astrology, you could easily be an astrologer. That specific conjunction in your house of career would definitely give you a leg up to do it. You have the mind to understand it.
Yeah, it's just such I've taken a couple of classes, but it's like when you mentioned your book, I thought I would download that book. It's like it's just so many branches, and then I find myself, I want to learn about this one, and I want to learn about this, and I get too scattered. Right. And is that because
of the Aquarius? It's Aquarius.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll tell you why. And I've mentioned this quite a few times. So anyone who hears the program, they've heard this before. But your Aquarius rules quantum thinking. So right now we have a lot of planets in Capricorn, which is very linear, and it's like, talk to me in a literal sense, do A plus B equals C, and then you get to Aquarius and information comes at you from every direction like a radio tower, picking up all the radio waves, and you can get confused. You can get overwhelmed with information. And it is also a sign that likes to learn and is curious. So your attention span isn't as great dealing with the material world or emotions, especially because Moon in Aquarius can be very detached from emotion, but much more engaged in ideas. And I can tell you, as a person with strong Aquarius energy in my chart, I have Uranus in my sun sign of Virgo in the house of Aquarius. So my mind is always like popping. So what happens is when you get on the internet, it focuses that electrical energy, because the internet is basically whatever you can think of, you can find on the internet. And so if you end up being on the computer for a lot, it actually focuses you. So if you want to include the internet or, any kind of web browsing as part of what you do, that will help you. You also have Uranus in Virgo, and Mercury in Virgo conjunct. So, oh my gosh, not only conjunct at the exact same degree. No wonder.
Right.
You are definitely an educator and a learner. You're a student and a teacher. And creative. I mean, you do have a lot of creative energy. Maybe yours is more towards writing because you have Mars in Libra. So, yeah, and your work house is ruled by Libra with Mars in it. So you could be a writer as well. Have you thought of doing that, or is that something that you have done?
Well, no, not I used to write when I was young. I used to keep lots of journals and stuff, but I've been having an ideal in the back of my head, and I thought, well, I probably couldn't do all the technical stuff, get the spelling correct and all of that, the basic
there
stuff.
There are programs for that,
Yeah, that's what my daughter-in-law told me, because she does that kind of work. She said, I'd help you with it. So I've got a couple of ideals, and maybe I will, one day do
seriously.
that.
I'm looking at your chart, and you have Saturn in the Capricorn house, which means bringing ideas down to the physical world and systematizing. You're really good at systematizing things. You have a second nature about knowing how to organize and clear clutter, because Aquarius loves to get rid of what's not necessary, and Capricorn loves to label things and organize in categories. So that could be a really wonderful thing, but also because you have ideas in a material house, and also Saturn is the ruler of that house, you can bring ideas down to the tangible world. And then you have Pluto, Mercury, and Uranus in the creative house, which is really good for understanding ideas and being really appealing to children. Like, I don't know if you have any interest in children's books, or even some way of writing towards children. It doesn't even have to be young children. It could be like teenagers. You have a really great way of creating a world that they could understand and want to engage in. So, and then Mars in Libra rules writers. I have a friend who is a Libra, and she's a writer. So, libraries, LIB, there's a connection. And it's in the house of work, and it's in the Virgo house, which, again, is service and teaching. So, you have a lot of energy that allows you to bring concepts into the physical world and help people learn and understand. And you have the Venus Sun in Leo, which is also really helpful for creative outlet and children. So I don't know if you thought to do that, but if I had never spoken to you before and you were saying, what should I do with my life? I would say be a writer or a teacher, because you've got that. And work with children if you can on some capacity. Yeah. Well, my pleasure.
Yeah.
I love talking.
I enjoy your show so much. Yeah, it's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, well, listen to this again, and maybe you'll pick up some more stuff that you didn't catch the first time. Okay?
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Shelley. Have a good day.
You're welcome. It's good talking to you.
Okay,
yeah,
bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye. Okay, let's take our caller 202. Hi, 202. How are you?
Hey, Shelley. How are you?
I'm good. Who is this?
Good. This is Kay.
Kay, I didn't look at the second grouping of your phone number. I would have known that. I just looked at the first.
Good. No worries at all.
Like, who is this? I mean, I'm sorry. I have a lot of return callers, and I'm always like, who is this? But I do have a couple people with similar phone numbers. So you never know for sure. What's up?
It's all good.
What can I do for you today?
Yeah, so I'm looking for a good day to do two different things with my film. One, like a pretty cool producer reached out to talk. And he emailed, and I want to follow up to actually set up the meeting to talk with him. And the other guy has been asking to see a piece of footage, but it's like I want it to be a day where, I don't know, I feel weird about him asking for it. First he asked for the file, and I was just like, okay, I'm not going to give you the file. But now I want
you're intuitive. You're being really intuitive. I'll tell you why. Because you have Chiron at 10 degrees Taurus in the house of creativity, and Mars is on your Chiron within 2 degrees, and will hit your Chiron very soon. I'm looking it up. Let's see. Mars gets to your Chiron. I just flew up past it. Hang on. The beginning of March. So we're very close to it. 10 degrees and 9 minutes. So it's going to be there overnight from March 1st to March 2nd. And it will still be within range until the 16th of March. So it's triggering that wound. And anything you do with someone else right now, creatively, there's a chance that whatever your deepest wounding is around money or whatever, it's going to be very painful. That's your deepest life wounding, and it's being triggered in a negative way with Mars right now. It's like a male. Mars is the archetype of the man. So it's coming into your life around beauty and aesthetics in your creative house. So he may be somebody that says, I've got these great ideas, I'm creative, I have a similar idea of what to do creatively, but that's your Chiron. So you're a little sensitive to that area, and people have wounded you. And Taurus is money, so it could be like a creative wounding around money, and that you're talking film, so I'm guessing that's something that is a potential hit for you. And today, while you're asking me this, there's an inconjunct with the moon exactly to your Chiron. So that tells me be very cautious. And is he foreign or far away? Does he have like a foreign energy?
No, like the first guy, I feel I've never spoken to. I feel comfortable with him. The second guy is in California.
Okay, and, where are you at?
England, New York? Charts together before.
Oh, okay.
I'm in Brooklyn currently.
Brooklyn.
He's got a lot of Scorp, and he's got a ton of Scorpio.
Well, the Scorpio, if he's resonating to a higher Scorpio, he can be really good because they're very much about integrity. But if he's resonating to a lower Scorpio, he can be devious, covert, and really vindictive. It's obvious.
Yeah, something triggered me with the second guy, so I'll probably, I guess you're saying, wait until after that transit for the guy that I feel weird about.
Yeah,
after
and I'm going to tell
second,
you,
okay?
Well, you have Uranus at 25 Scorpio. That's interesting. I actually met someone this weekend with Uranus at 25 Leo, which squares, and that's my, again, late degree Leo squaring late degree Scorpio is fraud and kind of criminals. So if he has, depending on where some planets are with either one of these guys, if they have late Leo in their charts, I would say be very cautious. because that just negatively interacts with your chart. It's like a bad chemical reaction. Yeah, and you also have North Node in Leo. So I think in this life, there's definitely something you have to learn. And it's in the house of higher education and spirituality and understanding. So there is a lesson to learn around trusting people and watching how people can tell you stories. And it also, I will tell you, you've got 3 very strong planets in your house of higher understanding and learning. So that's part of what you came here to do, is understand people of foreign cultures or people that will give you a higher lesson or a spiritual lesson. So yeah, you have Saturn, Jupiter, and Mars in Virgo in your house of higher education. So you're here to teach and learn, but you got to watch out for those people with that late Leo, late Scorpio. Or even timing when the planets are there. So again, watch out late August. Right before Sun goes into Virgo can also be a very susceptible time for you every year for meeting people. Yeah. As far as which one, again, if you called me privately or called another day to go over each individual chart, I could look into what they look like if you have that. But as far as like what's going on right now, Uranus is at 29 Aries. It just went past an opposition to your Moon Pluto conjunction at 21 Leo in your career house. So it's moving on from that. But let me see, Taurus. I would just say be a little more cautious around money, and don't immediately give money to people, again, because your Chiron is in Taurus also. So just be more cautious around money over the course of the next 8 years, and go over things more than once, which is what Taurus wants to do. And there's going to be a heightened sense of impulsivity around people, and that's really kind of, it's a big word, but antithetical. So it's the opposite, kind of opposite what's in your best interest. Sometimes to have not even what's in your best interest, probably not even the best way to put it, but what your nature is to take your time, and Uranus will be making you more impulsive and coming up on your Chiron. Yeah, did you? Well, we were talking about that for a while, and I think I mentioned something about that to you. So it was, I don't know if I told you about the endings, like ending of something. And also Uranus is only 33 minutes into your house of creativity, which is like this last week. So you ended that old story. I think we talked about that, the home and family connection, and now Uranus is in your creative house. So it's only going to ramp up more and more, wanting to do creative financial things. And that could really benefit you with your career. But I would also, let's see, right now it's really going to benefit you because you have like a connection to Scorpio with your natal Uranus. Uranus is coming into an opposition over, it'll be closer to, let me see what year it'll be, like 2026. 2025. So it's like 6 years away. You're coming into it. So over maybe 5 years from now, you'll start to feel like this opposition energy, like you're not in your natural state around how you feel comfortable with friends, with freedom around the work environment. So it's a process, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Right.
Again, I could look so deep into your chart, but we just don't have any more time. It's already over like 3 minutes.
I was going to say, if I talk to the guy that I trust, would Thursday or Friday be a good date? As in tomorrow? Thursday or Friday.
I would wait until Mars gets past your Chiron, honestly.
You would.
So that would be when, March 1st. It's approaching it 1 degree away. It'll be at 9 degrees Taurus. Your Chiron's at 10 degrees Taurus. You want it to go past that. Because if you initiate something on your Chiron, it can almost, I won't say guarantee because I don't control free will, but I will tell you, I'll almost guarantee this man is going to hurt you.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's not anything if I were going to do it, if it were me and my chart, I would not initiate something on a Mars on my Chiron. Be like, no, thank you very much. I appreciate you coming. But he's there for your lesson. So I can't guarantee you won't still do it, because you're being activated through that Mars. But I will caution you, it's not going to be happy. So, yeah. I would wait until after it gets past. So, like, even Monday would be better. Like, wait a minute. Yeah, Monday the 4th would even be better. Although it's still within a degree, so there could still be a trigger there. But Mars is not combusting. Do you know what I mean? They're not going to clash and come together and explode. He's already passed and moving on to the next thing. So it might be like, oh, this feels uncomfortable, like shivers up your spine, but it's moving away from you, as opposed to coming together and clashing, which is what we're trying to avoid, right?
Yeah, absolutely. No clashing. Okay, so I will wait then. I'll wait for both of them.
Yeah, and I'm going to just give you one more caution. Let me see, 10 degrees. Let's see if Uranus hits 10 degrees this year. Uranus doesn't just avoids 10 degrees. It gets to 6 degrees this year. I'll say probably 2020, you will have Uranus at that same Chiron position. Yeah, it's going to hit Uranus for you. Yeah, it's going to be right on it, and you want to write this date down, July 10th, 2020. Uranus will be on your Chiron, which is unexpected people coming into your life, probably a romantic partner, and you'll go, oh, wow, look at that guy. That's a heartache waiting to happen. Write that down. Look at it again. Yeah, July, what did I say? July 10th, 2020. Yep.
Leave him alone.
July 10th.
July 10th.
If it comes to you within a couple weeks either side, I'm going to tell you, watch out. That'll be a heartache.
So what is, I get so confused with the Chiron, because I've heard some astrologers say, you know, when something hits your Chiron, it's your soul mate or soul wound, soul healing, like so many different iterations. So I don't get it. Like, do we stay away? Do we go? Do we have a choice? Like, what?
Yeah, you always have a choice. You always have free will. But remember that the planets transit our chart, and that brings in people who are the archetype of that planet. So it's projected out from us. Living on Earth is basically one giant projection. And the planets incline us, and people come into our lives that are representative of those planets. Even the solar system is a projection. It's all part of the energy, and we read the energy through the planets. We read the energy through people that come into our lives, and they line up. That's what an astrologer does, is teach you how there's a commonality between the person you see in front of you and a transit in your chart. Yeah. And so when you see it and you're so attracted to it, that's the universe saying, and your higher self saying, you've got to look at this. This is something in your chart that you need to pay attention to so that you can process it and move on from it. So even though he's coming in and you're really attracted to it, if you go into it and talk to this man that you want to talk to by Friday, if you're armed with the information that this is a person who could potentially hurt you, in specifically around money and creativity and romance, then you're armed and forewarned. So if you move forward, you can go forward with the knowledge that you've got to watch out for this person. He's got like a red flag on his head, but you can still interact with him. There may be something that you need to learn from it, and there may even be a hurt that you have to get from it on a soul and karmic level. So I can't necessarily keep you from doing what you're going to do, because I don't know what your life purpose and soul karma is. But I can give you the information like, oh, why is this guy coming in? Well, he's coming in kind of to show you this trigger in your own life. He's reflecting back to you something that happened, so you understand it in your nature a little bit more, and that you know to recognize it when it comes in the form of other people. So
I'm gonna die.
I have Chiron. Honey, I have Chiron in the 5th house as well. Almost the same physical, like you've got it in the middle of the house. I have mine in the middle of the 5th house also. And mine's in Pisces. So at least you have Taurus where you can be very practical about it. I have it at Pisces where I'm like, come on, I love everybody.
Yeah.
I'm like, sure, hurt me. I love you anyway.
Yeah. Oh,
and yours is like, oh, screw this. I hate this. I'm not doing that again. But mine is like, no, hurt me some more.
So it's basically like a shitty dating life, right? Chiron and the 5th?
It can be that you are attracted to people who keep showing you, what they're doing on some level is showing you what you think. And I think this is true because I've talked to you before, showing you your value. Because remember, Taurus is value. when you keep letting people come in and hurt you around what you're worth, whether it's they treat you like crap and you feel bad about yourself, or they promise you money and don't give it to you, or they take money from you covertly somehow, any of those issues are a reflection of how you see your worth. Exactly. Right. And that's part of the wounding, is you don't think you're worthy, and you keep attracting people who resonate to that energy that you send out. So it really is ultimately all about us. I mean, we can look to everybody else and say, you hurt me. Well, you attracted them in. That's the I'm sorry, I just tripped over my space heater and that hurt. I got it stood up. Wow. Anyway, that's our thing to deal with. So unfortunately, that's where our Chiron is to teach us about ourselves. All the planets are there to teach us about ourselves, and you can't necessarily keep from learning the lesson if that's what you came here to do. But hopefully you can be a little more wise about the people you come in and maybe learn a little. And you can keep going through it. Eventually you're going to understand what the wounding is and you'll avoid it. But you may never get over it, but you can avoid it. And I'm here to help you do it. So,
well, thank you so much. I appreciate you looking into that for me. Thank you, Shelley.
Yeah, my pleasure. You're welcome, Kay. Take care.
Take care.
Be well. All right. Bye-bye. That's it for today. And it was so wonderful sharing this last hour with you. I will talk to you again next week. So, bye-bye. To subscribe, please click the picture of Shelley on the right or the red button below.